Peace family, this is Hope Patience again with the raw realities of motherhood. I'm grateful to be back again. Forgive me for taking so long to post this video. I've been really excited to get back to posting. However, I wanted to definitely take that break after the baby to heal and to relax. And it's been a week and her cord has fell off. It's a very successful Lotus Birth. Um, Another topic, another video. I definitely wanted to share some of my experiences from this past week with you all. The first thing I wanted to touch on was the surprise pregnancy. I did not share with social media, with friends. Only very close family and friends knew, which is very few people knew that I was carrying. Um, Needless to say, it was at my personal discretion that I did not want to share this pregnancy for numerous amount of reasons. One was emotional stability and just the personal sacredness behind this pregnancy. Um, for one, I feel that people have a way of being very negative as far as women and our bodies. And, of course, that first baby, everybody's like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. Yay. Woohoo. Second is kind of like, oh, okay. You know, you're pregnant. Yay. You're going to have a sibling for the first one. Third is like, oh, how many you plan on having? And of course, as being a third child of 10, I've heard that so many times, in different ways from people. And of course, some people don't mean any harm. However, I personally see it as offensive when people make those type of remarks, because you never know what people are going through. You don't know if they're ready to be a mom again. And I think that is something that I struggled with from the first child. Like I said, I never wanted to be a parent. However, I am very blessed to hold the title mom and to be a mother to my children. I love it. I enjoy it more than anything. However, there's still a lot of emotional issues connected to that. So when I found out I was pregnant for the second time, I literally cried. I thought I had the flu and strep throat, and of course I went and got tested for all this stuff. And I had just come off of birth control, the Mirena. I had an IUD for about 5 years, and when I came off, literally a month after, I guess that's when I got pregnant. And so of course I had no clue that I was pregnant, and I went in for this test, and the doctors tested me, came back and was like, oh, strep throat negative, flu negative, this negative, however, you are pregnant. And when I tell you, the tears just started falling. I was in college. I was in my sophomore year, and I was not ready. I had just started my photography career, and I really was just not ready to hear that I was going to have another child. Of course, all that changes as you go through the pregnancy, and I met this special little person that changed my whole life and changed the plans that I have for myself. And you can do nothing but be grateful for that. And for every single one of my births, every single one of my babies, I'm very proud, and I'm extremely grateful for leveling up. That's what I call it. Now with this one, it was a huge surprise because I was still breastfeeding my 1.5-year-old at the time, and I was about a $125, no symptoms whatsoever. Of course, I didn't get a period because I was nursing, and so when I started experiencing a little pelvic pains here and there, of course I thought like, can I be? No, I'm not. Of course, pregnancy is the last thing you want to think about. And of course, I ignored it until I couldn't ignore it any longer. And I went and took the test, and it said I was positive. And I was just like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And when I went to the doctor confirmed that I was already about 4 months pregnant. I'm talking about 4 months pregnant, no belly, not showing anything, no vomiting, no morning sickness, no anything. I'm just working, running around, The only thing I can say that I realized was I was very ditzy, clumsy. I felt like I was losing my mind at some point. I went through like 3 phones. I had a very hard time keeping my head together. But of course, did not think I was pregnant. And so that was a very big shocker to me. Um, and then I did not feel the need to share it with anyone because I feel that, for one, people are not as supportive as you want them to be or as you would expect them to be. And so I felt that I needed um, a positive support system, and I needed to stay in a positive state of mind for this child to, continue to carry on a healthy pregnancy. I went through emotions where I just didn't want to, I couldn't accept being pregnant, you know, um, even to the point of when, they were showing me the ultrasound, like, look, Miss Robinson, it's right here, you're pregnant. There's a baby until, I started feeling the baby. And then it was just like, I still couldn't bring myself to to accept that I was pregnant. It's very, very crazy. And people never know what you're going through or experiencing, as a mom. Um, Pregnancy takes a lot from you. Growing a child inside of you takes a lot from you, mentally, emotionally, physically. And these are things we have to deal with as parents. And, so people think, or people say things like, oh, why are you having all those kids? Well, if it's the will of the Creator, if it's the will of the Most High, the will of God, the will of the Netzer, who am I to question that? Who am I to try to stop um, a spirit or ancestor or whomever is coming through, from coming through? Who am I to stop a birth? That's my personal feeling and opinion on it. Um, of course, I've struggled for some time to um, accept these thoughts and opinions, of my own, because of how people have made me feel in the past about kids, about bearing kids. And it hurt very much when I would hear other women say to me, well, be happy that you can have a child, and that's something that I'm very grateful for, that I am able to bear children. And I understand that that's my purpose now, um, to be a mom to these children that I have carried and bear, and to learn whatever it is that they came here to teach me. And um, again, that was the reason for me not sharing the whole pregnancy. And the experience was awesome because I didn't have to deal with the stress of hearing other people's opinions or other people say whatever they wanted to say. Those that I did come in contact with that did, if I felt that, it was something negative or not something that I wanted to hear, I definitely just kind of checked them to the left and put them in their place. Because some people don't mean to be offensive, but like I said, as women, we go through a lot, and you never know what someone is going through, where they're at mentally, as far as children are concerned. And so I think that people should be a lot more aware and mindful of moms, of mothers, of even mothers who have lost children. People ask, oh, well, when are you having another child? You don't know. Maybe that person can't have any more kids, or so much just to be mindful about. But anyway, that's that. Off to the next topic. I wanted to discuss this Lotus birth. Um, it was amazing. My first time doing a Lotus birth. My second, my last child, we did do the cord delay, and that's when, after the baby is born, you delay in the clamping up the cord. Um, a Lotus birth is simply the practice of leaving the baby attached to the placenta until the cord naturally dries up or disconnect from the belly button. And normally that's around 3 to 10 days. It may vary for many, depending on the climate, the humidity levels. My little one, hers came off in 6 days, and it was very emotional for her. I'll get to that in a second, but the name Lotus Birth, of course, it comes from the flower, the lotus flower, which is a very sacred symbol in many Eastern cultures. It symbolizes unity, detachment, and rebirth. Um, And so the reason I chose this Lotus Birth is, like I said, I wanted to I wanted to try the long lost tradition of this. This has been practiced for many, many, many years. It's not really looked at, here in the Western and on this side in the States, of course. Um, but keeping a cord and a placenta with the baby while he or she transitions um, to life outside the womb has always just been a very sacred thing. And without the trauma of being cut from the mother. And that's pretty much what I wanted my baby to experience. And when I tell you that it's the truth, it really is the truth. And now I look back and I wish that I had the knowledge that I have now to be able to have done this with my other children, because I can definitely see the difference in the baby's emotional response. She has not, well, put it like this, she's not a crybaby how my other kids are. And so you can see that there's some type of emotional distress that they've experienced or some type of trauma. And from the time she was born and just attached to her placenta, she was very peaceful, very quiet. She sleeps very well. Um, she'll do a little fussing here and there to tell me, of course, that she's uncomfortable or she's hungry or, if she dislikes a position. But other than that, not no crying, no, not demanding, very peaceful, very calm, and I love it. It is a Lotus Birth is a quiet and a respectful transfer of attachment. And it is the most natural and respectful spiritual practice that honors the birthing process. And that's definitely what my purpose was to do, was to definitely honor the birthing process. Um, Her placenta is kind of like her first mommy or nurturer while she's still in the womb. So to take that from her, I didn't want to do that. And it was successful. We monitored the cord. Like I said, my husband, he had gotten some herbs, some Himalayan salt, some sage, rosemary, chamomile, and he made this really great mixture. And he had gotten some hibiscus flowers, some fresh lemongrass, French lavender, and he took very great care of the placenta. It was very good for me because normally after I have a baby, I'm ready to bounce back. And you're not bouncing back with the Lotus Birth at all, because it definitely keeps you mindful to move in slow motion, to take your time and allow the baby to heal as well as yourself. And for those who know me, I'm a very I'm always on it type of person. And some of the benefits, I'm going to just go over quickly some of the benefits of a Lotus Birth. And as I said before, emotional well-being, reducing the trauma, and it reinforces the gentleness of a natural birth. More blood. It definitely gives more blood, as it doesn't disrupt the blood volume, and allows the oxygenated blood to flow back into the baby, improving circulation, red blood cell count, immune system, brain development, body temperature. So this is all what babies lose in the hospital after giving birth. The babies lose all of this. I think for some reason when they weigh the baby, and the baby is one weight, and then by the time you leave the hospital, the baby is another weight. I think that has a lot to deal with it. Don't quote me on it. Again, I highly recommend, if you're interested in the Lotus Birth, that you definitely do the research for yourself, and figure some things out for yourself. But it definitely aids in postpartum healing, because, like I said, it forces you to move slowly, carefully, and minimally. Like, you're not going anywhere for a couple days until that belly button fall off. And I want to say my first day back to work as mommy, of course, was Thursday, because my husband went back to work. So I had her on May 26th, which was last Saturday morning, and then my husband returned back to work on Thursday, and that was my first day back in my mommy mode, in full mommy mode. And when I say it was so successful, it was so successful. I was so proud of myself because I got so much done. And a lot of that was a part of the reason of me not being afraid to accept another child. Just wondering, what type of love am I going to have enough love to share between three, four people plus a husband? Am I going to have enough time to share between, you know? And so the balance is very, very important. And I'm learning that. I'm still learning that. And I took all of that into consideration. And, I was able to delegate jobs to the little ones to keep them included, to have them feeling a part. And I think that's a great blessing because of course it helps them accept their little sister, which they were so excited to do. But it gives them a chance to feel a part of mommy and feel my love, and for me to express my love to them and spend time with them. So I would take my little 4-year old in the kitchen with me when I had to prepare any meals and let her be my helper. And of course she loved it. At the same time, she's learning different things about cooking and safety in the kitchen, and um, all of this is just extremely important. And then today, my second day was, was a little bit more difficult, um, as I realized I still need to catch up on some rest. My morning starts very early because my kids are in bed by sunset. So by 8 o'clock, 8:30, boom, sleep. And the reason for that is because that is my time for myself to recuperate. Don't want to hear any kids after a certain time. Plus, they need their rest. And, I love having that time to myself to spend with my husband or do whatever it is that I need to do. With that being said, they're up super duper early. By 7:30, my 2-year old is awake and she's ready to eat. And so, of course, when my kids wake up, I wake up and, I'm into mommy mode immediately. And so, you know, my second day was a little bit more tougher because I was struggling with the headache that I've had. And, I just noticed that I needed to replenish and, get myself back into a better position and meditate. And, after that, everything was smooth. And then came Saturday. Today was my first day out with all the kids by myself. Um, Successful. I loved it. They loved it. And, I just want to say, moms, that we have to encourage ourselves. We have to definitely know that we are we are strong, we are fierce. It's so much power within us. I mean, to create something and carry something within 9, 10 months, and um, just to still be able to take charge, be able to just do everything, do some of everything, because that's what I felt myself doing on Thursday. I really realized my strength and my superpower is like, it comes from being a mom. And I just want to encourage all moms to, you know, tap into your superpowers, be proud of yourself, no matter what your situation is, no matter how your days are looking. Be grateful that you are a mom and you get to experience and share so much love and teach um, these little people and give these little people love. And just remember that they are our future. Um, and with all that being said, I'm going to sign out for the day. And I thank you all for watching, for listening. Again, any feedback is always welcome. Peace, family.